Okay, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Energized. Ross, introduce the guest, man.
The guest is yourself, Basmo. Welcome to the show, man. For the first time in a very long time, we are just having a chat, just the two of us.
Yeah.
Quite fitting as well. You know, we've got to the end of the year. It's been an absolutely insane year. And I think every year we probably go, oh, it's been a crazy year. But this year, like, it's been a year like no other, if we're brutally honest about it. And we're actually looking to make a difference for someone's Christmas this year. We have a massive competition at the moment. We're giving away €200 cash, Energized t-shirt, Energized hoodie, boxing gloves worth like €190, some pads, and some wraps. You have to protect those hands, you know. So that has been given away on Christmas Eve. So
Yeah.
I think this is Monday, so you have 3 days to enter. And
Did you mention the €200?
I think I mentioned that at the start. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, right, just reiterate that.
Yeah, well, like at the moment, I think there's 210 entries, so like you're actually 1 in 200 chance of winning, which is like outrageous odds.
Yeah, I think today we should just sort of like we should go over this year's sort of winners and losers. We should go into a bit like what we sort of make of the year itself, like in everything from MMA to boxing to the scene to what we plan on doing sort of next year. Because like the people who do tune in, like thanks a million for everyone who tunes in, because like it keeps us coming back every fucking week. Which is I like the way we're like, right, Monday 7:30 we record. Like obviously you can vary sometimes if depending on the guest, but like for instance, we were meant to have a guest today, Dylan Moran on. He was just fresh off that McGregor, hanging out with McGregor in Spain, but like he's just an A-list celeb now, so he said he'd come on next week, you know.
But he dropped us. He dropped us like a hot potato. He gave us a decent amount of notice. I think we're supposed to have Tony Brown on as well, and he couldn't make it. But those two lads are probably hanging out together, celebrating Tiernan Bradley's win over the weekend. So shout out to Tiernan, and then shout out to Stephen McKenna as well. Yeah, both getting the job done, both getting finishes. So on the lads.
Yeah. So like Ross, like before we actually get into sort of winners and losers of the year and this weekend's UFC action, where our mate Stephen Wonderboy Thompson won. What you sort of make of the year overall, Ross? Just sort of just COVID and 2020.
Well, obviously, like from a personal standpoint, there was pros and cons. Like I suppose for me personally, I was home a lot more. I got to spend more time with my son, who was only 18 months old, and 40, I suppose 50 hours when you include, maybe even 60 hours when you include like travel time to and from work. The time I don't see him, that like he was there, and I probably would have missed his first steps. I got to see them.
Yeah.
I probably would have like missed his first word. I got to hear that. You know what I mean? Just like little things where he runs and crawls up your leg, which sometimes gets annoying when you're on a Zoom call for work, but you appreciate it on the grand scheme of things. So
he's been watching too much Khabib.
Yeah, he's been he's coming in on those single legs. So I suppose I'm extraordinarily grateful for that. Obviously, I was only saying to Baz before we jumped on. It's like being on parole. If you're allowed to live your life to a certain extent, but there's plenty of things you're not allowed to do, which this time last year you would have been able to do without worrying.
Yeah, so crazy because like even ourselves when doing the show, obviously we've been doing it a few years, but like I almost write off the first couple of years because we didn't really know what we were doing. Like it wasn't like, yes, there were shows every week, but it was sort of like, oh, we'll talk about rugby this week, or we'll talk about football this week, or MMA. Like there was no set path.
Yeah,
and like now I think, like when did we really just be like, right, it's MMA?
I think the last 18 months have sort of definitely changed it. There was also times where you're going pedal to the metal on the show, and then we were doing edits and we were putting videos inside the videos, and the upload to YouTube, like we were sitting there waiting until it got uploaded onto YouTube. There was no like, should let that upload for a few hours and then come back to it. It was, you were sitting there watching it upload.
We were grinding, man, and your gaff just like sitting for hours waiting for shit to upload, and then it wouldn't upload, and then it's like, oh my god, on a Monday night, like just
it
wasn't sustainable.
It'd be 12 o'clock at night. I'd be dropping Baz home. He's been at the gaff since 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It just wasn't sustainable, wasn't it? As much as we loved it, it was just it wasn't working. I don't know.
Like, no, it was a secondary full-time job, and like it still is to an extent, but I must say, doing it on Zoom has made it so much easier. It's one steady flow through, and it's one straight record. It's no snippets of this and snippets of that. Now, like I know we do the little short snippets from promotional aspect or for people to see what it's about, but like that takes about 20 minutes max at a time compared to sitting there and waiting for the video to upload. You know?
Yeah. Man, it's so crazy. And then like sitting in your gaff, I know we had a few people come down to your gaff. Like we had King County there. I remember first met him, and I was like, God,
these couches are lovely.
I was like, hopefully he doesn't batter us. But no, that was unreal. Like, and shout out to Shane Dempsey for helping us set that up. That was great. But then we were like, how are we going to get more and more guests into your gaff on a Monday at this certain time where like your parents don't mind? There's like mixed martial artists or rugby players or footballers in the front room. And then your mad as a fanboy like Darren Conway or something, you know? It was like, it was just, I didn't know how we were going to do it. And then like, it was such a blessing in disguise. Like, I know COVID is a terrible thing. Myself and Ross were just talking about this 25-year-old lad. There was a tweet put out that he had a full-time job, then COVID happened. After a month, he lost his job. After 2 months, he broke up with his girlfriend, and then he just committed suicide. So, like, obviously the mental health aspect of things is unbelievable. And obviously myself and Ross do so much. Well, we do as much. I know we could probably do more, but we do as much as we sort of can by, I think, first of all, by putting out the show, keeps people, like, I feel like keeps some people entertained. I know after a while, Ross, people get to know us and know where we're sort of coming from. And then just like even the Movember thing, and I don't know, I'd like to do more, but like let's see what happens next year, obviously. But yeah, then like getting Zoom and then inviting guests on, we were just like, oh my god, this is we don't need to bring people to your gaff anymore, you know.
Yeah. I was trying to think there when you were saying that who's been to my gaffs, like Will Fleury, Ian Gary, Lydia Desdal. I think was Al Foran in the gaff? I think he was.
Al Foran was in the gaff, yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else, like made King Cowley, of course.
It was just more like how.
But it was also, that was a lot of the like, I think each time, bar Al Foran, it was the first time we met all those people in person.
Yeah.
Which is a bit like, welcome, come on in.
Yeah.
You know, have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Or Baz was like, make sure you have Monster from.
Man, I can't believe the crazy shit we've done in this. And then like, I think like the way Bellator have looked after us so well with the media credentials, and Obama did as well. And now I feel like we have a stamp now in Ireland that like, right, if you name like the top 5 MMA shows in Ireland, I'd say we're definitely in the top 5. And then like I made sure to message every one of our guests that came on this year saying thanks a million for coming on, blah 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 blah, have a happy Christmas. But like now I know like things are sort of going a bit pear-shaped with the coronavirus. But I think next year, with more events going to be opening up more, I think we'll be more certified to get credentials as well. So there'll be more events to go to. Therefore, we'll be rubbing shoulders with more people, making more connections, getting more guests on. It's just sort of like we've already built up the ladder. Like, for instance, when COVID happened originally, the lockdown, we did 40 shows in a row and had like 37 guests on.
Yeah, it was a mad one, really, to be honest.
Can you believe it? It was so funny. Like, I was like, right, Ross, you have to recite every guest we've had on in a row. You're pretty good at doing that. You were actually, for a while, you had them like all nailed off. But like people like Ross, like Mikey Conlon, getting him on the show, that was like something I thought like that was almost like a dream, you know, as in like, I'd love to have Mikey Conlon on one day. I'd love to have Katie Taylor on one day. I'd love to have Conor on one day. But like, to have him on, I couldn't even believe it. It was just real like, oh shit. You know?
Yeah, because someone asked me, it's like, who's like to have on more than anyone? I was like, oh, well, like Katie Taylor's like that name that's like we haven't checked off the list. And they're like, over Conor, I was a bit like, I just have a feeling like when Conor retires, whatever, you'll be able to get him. I feel like he'll do quite a bit of media, you know what I mean? As opposed to Katie Taylor, like, you know, you're getting her on almost against her will. She doesn't want to be there. You know? She doesn't want to do an interview. She never wants to do an interview, but like, she's giving you her time. So
yeah.
So, something like that, I'm just like, oh, give me Katie Taylor. Watching that Santa there, do you think he's cool?
Yeah, is that a picture, a drawing?
If he gives it, he actually lights up as well, but I'll have to turn him on, and that's about effort. And then his light will be going on in the background.
Yeah, the people on Spotify can't see it. So if you are tuning in,
unless we sign a Joe Rogan deal.
Joe Rogan. I want to talk about him for a sec as well. But yeah, if you are listening right now, make sure to subscribe. And because on YouTube, we're on 854 subscribers. We need to hit 1,000 as soon as possible. And then on Spotify, we have like 487. So that's doing pretty well. I don't look at the iTunes numbers, even though I probably should, but like, just whatever. I'm actually wearing the Joe Rogan thing right now. But Ross, have you been listening to Joe Rogan as much these days?
Not overly, but not because he's moved right now, not because I don't like the setup, because like I listen to him more than I did, but I just feel like because it's been darker these days, I haven't really been getting out as much, and I'm watching more on YouTube as well. So like, I feel like that's it. I feel like the worse Arsenal do, the more Arsenal fan TV I watch. So like that takes up more of a time.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I haven't really been. I've watched a couple of clips because the full show isn't on YouTube now. I haven't really been watching, you know. But
he still has his like YouTube channel there, and he still puts clips on it, which I'm almost surprised Spotify are letting him do. Although he's probably allowed to do what he wants.
Yeah, but it's sort of like the way you said you'd clip the stuff and put it on the Instagram wall as well.
Yeah, but I suppose it's his content, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but like, what are you sort of expecting? Like, obviously, no one could foresee this COVID happening, but like having all the guests on and being like, right, this is really, really working now. It's almost like a blessing in disguise, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but it's also so much more less of a logistical nightmare, because like we don't actually have to make it to the same location each time to do it. We can do it from afar,
our own living rooms.
Yeah, so like, you don't have to leave the gaff. You know what I mean?
So there's just no excuses.
Now, would it be ideal if you had a room in your house and I had a room in my house and we had a cool backdrop in each? You know what I mean? A bit like, do you ever see DC and Helwani when they both have like the screen behind them?
Yeah.
Like, obviously that's like, you know, the dream, but I don't think our budget is ESPN's budget.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? I know obviously some people follow us now and have been in contact about what we're doing, and who knows what happens next year, like how we just keep building it, because something's happening, and it has more of a path now than ever, and it's almost like it's reborn in a way, and we're like, right, we can actually sort of, we know what we're doing more now than ever, really, you know.
Yeah, well, let's sort of get into 2020, and let's talk about sort of the pre-COVID moments. You know, the biggest moments probably were, well, in terms of UFC, there was only 2 pay-per-views. There was McGregor Cowboy, Return of the Mac. Then there was obviously Adesanya versus Romero, I think it was. And then sort of, I think in terms of biggest fights, the next biggest fight was probably Wilder versus Fury 2. What do you actually remember pre sort of COVID? Do you remember those events quite clearly, or do you feel like they were almost a whirlwind years ago?
It is sort of like, what would you say, BC before COVID, like AC after COVID, or we're still doing COVID, so well, it's BC and the present time.
Yeah, it's DC at the moment during COVID.
During COVID, it's just so crazy, like, because like, I don't know, man, like it's so crazy doing this. Like, I've put my whole entire life and heart and everything into this, and all you have as well. But like now, like before COVID, like I was fucking depressed in my fucking brains. Like I was coming off like the worst Christmas of my life, and I was just like, this is a lot of bollocks. And then now, like, then I lost my job, and then now I have a job, and like I'm just keeping busy, and I'm just focused on work and this and work and this, and then a bit of training when I can fit in. But I don't know, I feel like not only is the world reborn, but I feel like I'm slightly reborn as well. And like that's why I'm just really, really happy to go into next year a better person, and with money, and with, I don't know, just more of a path. Like when I was working with the radio, I was like, I'm so close yet so far. Like I'm shaking hands with Roy Keane, shaking hands with Paul McGrath. Like whose hand do I need to shake? And then now it's just like I was grinding to, because we wanted to get on the radio, and now it's just like, whatever. Like I'm happy to do this for the rest of my life, because I know things will keep building. The way now we're doing a massive giveaway with Fight Store Media. They're like, here, next competition we'll do this, and it was like, all right, great. Like, I mean, they already want to work with us. So like, I mean, other people want to come to the show. Other people have asked to come to the show. So to answer your question, I don't know what the question really was.
Right. Oh, well, I was just talking about pre-COVID, but I suppose we'll talk about the first one. It looks like Conor McGregor is going to fight like nearly a year to the day
Yeah,
afterwards. Like obviously COVID was a massive issue with him. He didn't want to fight in front of no fans. He didn't want to, UFC didn't want to like roll out their prize cash cow without a massive gate behind it. Do you
yeah,
think UFC is accepting that maybe COVID isn't going to go away for a while, and they might as well make that massive pay-per-view money off him?
yeah. Because we were buzzing for him at the beginning of this year because obviously we get more views when Conor's involved, and he was like, "I'm doing a season," and we were like, "Yes," because he hadn't fought since Mayweather, and he hadn't fought before that since
Khabib.
Khabib.
Or Khabib was after Mayweather, wasn't it?
Yeah, Khabib was after Mayweather.
Yeah.
So before that, it was like, was it Diaz too? No. It was Eddie Alvarez, was it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it was ages. And like we were like, fuck's sake, just when we sort of get going a bit. But yeah, so now he's coming back next year and he looks more determined than ever. He looks like he's like really, really knuckled down. I think COVID's definitely helped. You know what I mean? Because like you had to stay in, so therefore he had to stay in. But I think the UFC are sort of like, right, this isn't really leaving anytime soon. Let's get him on board.
Definitely, I definitely do think so. And tell me about the boxing world. We sort of seen 2020 sort of saw the heavyweights, play out, and we're left with 2021 with the big fight, Joshua Fury, which probably most people, if they could actually get any fight, it would have been that fight from the get go. Back in 2019 when you were sort of left with the big three, and then sort of about 5 or 6 fringe players in there, like your Dillian Whites, your Luis Ortiz. Andrew Reid only became a fringe player by beating Joshua. We want to know who was the best out of the big three. Obviously, Fury and Wilder fought not once but twice. Fury, I think, won every minute of both fights, bar about 2 minutes.
About I thought 9 seconds on the mat.
Yeah, exactly. And then Joshua had his own ups and downs. It'd be interesting to see what the sort of play would be if Joshua never lost to Ruiz. I'd like to see how it was viewed if they're both still undefeated.
Yeah.
But I still think people will fancy Tyson Fury to get the job done. I don't think Joshua's gone out there and like dominated in such a fashion where people are like, that was brilliant. I feel like Joshua's always just been sort of like the better athlete, or like, he's a young lion fighting, an old horse, if that makes sense. Like when he was fighting Pulev, you sort of look at those Eastern European guys and you're just like, they're tough as nails. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to put them away easily. But then he's also 40, so like Joshua's, an absolute Adonis of a physical specimen. So you're just like, oh, he'll eventually put him away, really.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. I'm probably looking forward to that fight more than any MMA fight as well, because I feel like that is the fight I need to see in 2021.
Okay, bar that one, Joshua and Fury, and we'll get into that. What fight in MMA are you looking forward to that you can almost compare?
Well, I'm really interested to see John Jones versus whoever the heavyweight champion is, whether it be Ngannou or whether it be Stipe. It looks like they're going to do Stipe and Ngannou first.
Yeah.
I just want to see how John Jones does a heavyweight. Because if he wins the heavyweight belt, it'd be hard not to call him like absolute GOAT. You know
okay, so say John Jones fights Stipe Miocic. Would you rather see that fight or Joshua versus Fury?
Probably Joshua Fury. I just think it could
it's
been 3 or 4 years in the making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it was, if DC went out and beat Stipe that time, it was like DC versus Jones, the heavyweight. Like I might be more intrigued by that.
Would you?
I was like, yeah, but like,
because the backstory.
The backstory, and you're always like, can DC get his revenge eventually? You know what I mean? So
for the third time, is a charm.
But like I always said that I thought DC was better at heavyweight because he didn't have to cut that weight. Like he put it this way, DC is a bit chubby, and when you are a bit chubby, like it's harder to cut the weight. When you're all muscle, like you're just draining yourself of all water. Like you can't drain yourself of fat.
It's the thing is, right, Joshua Fury, right, and that's definitely that is the only fight I want to see next year, right?
Yeah.
I don't want any like.
Don't give me this Usyk in the middle.
Usyk. You see, the thing is, man, I think Usyk could be a major bump in the road. So like, why take that fight when like the cash is with Fury? But the thing is, this is no offense to Joshua because I know he watches the show, but I don't think he really wants to get in the ring with Fury.
No, sure. He was asked afterwards, like, who are we going to fight next? He was like, oh no, whoever the fans want me to fight next. And he was like, fans, who do you want to see him fight next? And he was like, do you want to see him fight Tyson Fury? And he's like, yeah, grand, I'll fight Tyson Fury. And then it was like, are you the best boxer in the world? I was like, well, I know how good I am. It's like, and then I think Tyson Fury was on Jonathan Ross. And he was like, who do you want to fight next? And he was like, Anthony Joshua. And I was like, who's the best boxer in the world? It's like, me, obviously. You know what I mean? It's a different ball game.
But then should he be made go in and fight him then?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like in the UFC, if people don't want to fight each other, they don't.
It's quite rare that like the number one contender is not going to fight for the belt though.
I know, but it's sort of like it's so strange because it's a fight everyone wants to see. Everyone wants to see this. This is the one boxing fight that like everyone is going to watch. Whether you think Joshua's going to win or Fury's going to win, I think a lot of people are saying Joshua because they have to because they're friends with him. But like Tyson Fury is the best out there, and I think his matchup against Joshua is just it's almost perfect.
Yeah, maybe Joshua,
Fury to win.
Maybe Joshua knows how good Fury is. He knows he's the underdog going into the fight.
Yeah, but there's no harm losing to the greatest that there's been in a long, long time. Like that's where I see Fury.
Yeah, but maybe Joshua's doing a bit of a Jose Mourinho and just been like, oh no, he's the best. He's the champ. He's the great. You know what I mean? So therefore, like if he loses, it's like, well, I told you they were the best anyway. And then like if he wins, you know, he's playing himself down. I think that could be his look at it.
But I think it's more like the running away. Like he's already made his millions. Like how much money would Joshua have in his bank account? 10 million?
No, more than that.
Not 20.
Oh no, more than that.
What?
Yeah, man, I'd say
40 million?
Well, he was selling out to Wembley Arena time after time, and he was like,
yeah, but Carl Froch was doing that as well, like as we have all heard.
No, well, he did it once. You swear he did it every week by the way he goes on. But like also, Josh was like big draw on pay-per-view. Like when he went over to Saudi Arabia, he would have made at least 20 million, I'd say, off that fight alone.
Okay, so let's say Joshua has
50 mil.
50 million, okay? He's already made 50 million, and like he's what, 30? 132?
Yeah.
Let me just check that.
But sure, I think was a Tyson Fury made 18 million off the Wilder fight.
Did he give that all away, by the way, did he?
I don't think so, but like I'm sure he gave some of it away. He seems to be
Josh
that
was
sort of guy.
Josh was 31. He turned 31 on October the 15th. But yeah, but he's already made like 50 million, so he's set for life, right? Like fair enough. This fight was when Joshua was just about to come into the scene. The way Mayweather fought Canelo, that would have been a bit different. But at this stage now, he's made all his money. He can go out and fight this, and then like he can retire after as the greatest or whatever. Like he has all this money. There's nothing to be worried about financially. So
no,
why not?
Apparently, Joshua has a net worth of 80 million.
That's why, like, I mean, stop running away and let's get this fight on. This is a fight everyone wants to see. This is one that everyone's going to tune into. Like this Usyk thing. If Usyk comes, see, this is the biggest problem, right? If Usyk comes in and wins, which I actually think he could do as well, which is
against who now? Against Joshua.
Against Joshua, yeah. Then the Fury Joshua fight is just totally off, and then Fury has no one to fight.
It's Usyk versus Fury.
Yeah, Fury. Yeah, but then like no one's signing up for Usyk. I know they will, but I mean, it's not like. This is it, like the two champs. One champ.
Yeah, it's also like London versus Manchester as well.
It's as big as it comes, man. Yeah. This Usyk thing, Usyk then Fury and Usyk Joshua, it's not the same. It's just not the same. And like the fans want this. This is what the fans want. Usyk wants this as well, you know. But,
definitely.
Just give us that fight, man. That's what we want to see. That's what the fans want to see, you know.
Right, Basmo, give us your 3 biggest winners in MMA for 2020 and then 2 losers. Because we want more winners than losers.
Yeah, everyone loves a winner, don't they? Okay, 3 biggest winners in the UFC this year. Go Kevin Holland, number 1. Yeah. 5 wins in the UFC in the calendar year. Unbelievable. Another winner would have to be. I'll go. I don't know actually. But, I don't like the silent pause. It's like number 2. I'll go Dana White. What he's done this year for not only
That's a
MMA,
great show. I wasn't going to pick him. That's a good show.
yeah, not only MMA, but like the world.
Yeah.
And like not to overhype it or undersell it, the way he's given so much more people enjoyment, something to look forward to. Like we've had shows every week, Ross, like during this pandemic. Crazy. Like we've actually been too blessed with content. Like even the way the amount of viewers it's after robbing from the NFL, from the NBA, all their viewers are going down. And like the UFC, like even that it was Joaquin Buckley, Saquon Buckley, Joaquin Buckley, that spinning kick knockout of the year, that went absolutely viral. Like even like it had like people's grandparents retweeting it, you know?
Yeah.
So Dana White, just everything he's done with the collaborations, with like getting the Nelt Boys on, getting like, I don't know, even the way.
Yeah, they've really gone outside the box, haven't they?
It's like people clowned on Eddie Hearn for getting KSI and Logan Paul on, but then like he's just taking a leaf out of Dana White's book.
Yeah, but it's either you're going with the times or you're not. You know what I mean? So you might as well go with them.
Well, that's it. Like, I mean, that's it. I mean, now in saying that, we haven't crossed over to TikTok, but look at the way, for instance, like Jay Paul's after bringing so much more notoriety again to this Conor McGregor fight against Poirier, as if he needed anymore. Just all this sort of stuff. Obviously, we're going to talk about that with Dylan Moore next week because he was with Conor when all this stuff went out. So that would have been good this week. But that's next week's show anyway. But yeah, so 2 winners so far: Kevin Holland, Dana White, and number 3.
Maybe like a Jan Blachowicz or a Figueiredo.
I was actually going to go Kazmat Chimaev, going from being on the undercard, nobody knowing him. You didn't know him, I didn't know him, to being the most known guy in the UFC at one certain stage. So I got
over 1 million Instagram followers. Like not many people have that.
Yeah, but I remember I heard Chael Sonnen talking about it. He's gone from being on the undercard to then fighting twice in a week, and then fighting one more time at middleweight, and then he was meant to co-headline the last event of the year. And then if he had won that impressively, he would have been fighting for the title in the new year against Kamaru Usman. So I'll go the 3 winners in MMA for me: Dana White, Kevin Holland, and Kazmat. 2 losers. Honorable mention as well for Graham Bull and what he's done with Cage Warriors as well. I think Cage Warriors was unbelievable, Ross, wasn't it? Like we are now balls deep in Cage Warriors. Balls deep. Shout out to Bellator as well, because we are having Big John and Josh Thompson on the show in a couple of weeks' time to talk about what Bellator's plan is for the future. So that's going to be really interesting as well, because I'm really interested to see how are they going to sort of. They haven't really dominated the European market the way Cage Warriors has really got in there so fast, you know?
Yeah. It's
like Cage Warriors sort of went a bit viral in a way, but whereas Bellator have just been gradually grinding, you know? So it's strange. Do you want to give your 3 biggest winners and then we both give the biggest losers?
I can do. I'm going to do a sort of a joint one, and it's...
Smoke a joint?
No, it's Figueiredo and Jan Blachowicz to start off with. Like they both benefited from people relinquishing their belts. Figueiredo has reinvigorated that flyweight division. He's gone 3-0-1. I suppose it's almost like going 4-0, because when you draw for your own belt, you keep the belt, and then
do you get another belt then?
I actually don't know what way that works out.
I don't think they're giving out belts anymore like that. But
and then in terms of Jan Blachowicz, I mean, I think if you told me at the start of 2019 even that by the end of 2020 Jan Blachowicz would be the light heavyweight champion, I'd say, geez, he must absolutely flute a lucky punch against John Jones. You know what I mean? Because I didn't see that happen whatsoever.
It's that Polish power. Him and Bisping, that Polish blood.
Yeah, that Polish blood indeed. Another big winner for me this year has to be Israel Adesanya. You know, he went 2-0. He took on the 2 scariest dudes in the middleweight division in Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa. Obviously the Romero fight was a bit bland and a bit boring. It wasn't what people were expecting, but he beat the brakes off Paulo Costa. And I'll be the first to admit, I thought Paulo Costa was going to win that fight. I haven't watched the old Romero fight and seen how tentative it was. I was like, you can't be that tentative against Paulo Costa because he's going to come in and go for you. It was a terrible game plan. It's still the worst game plan I've seen in UFC history by Paulo Costa. But Adesanya made a show. He also ended up
the worst game plan since my Tinder chat up lines.
Oh, stop the And he also came up and commentated on the Tyson or Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. card. So I mean, he transitioned across as well, which is like outrageously impressive. And then my final winner is going to be Khabib Nurmagomedov. He went 29-0. He's retired. I see him as retired, and he put his name in there for GOAT status. So not many people get to do that, and not many people get to go out on top. So I'm going to put Khabib in there as a big winner in the MMA world of 2020.
Random question now: do you think Khabib would ever box Conor McGregor?
No, I just don't see that.
Not in zoo for boxing, no.
No, I just don't see the point of it.
I know. See, Khabib's still very young, man. I just can't believe. I know he comes across as someone who's like, I'm retired and that's it. But like Dana is like, I'm meeting him in January to sort something out because like something's going to happen with this lightweight title because it's all over the shop. To be honest, it makes things even more interesting. To be honest, in a weird way, especially because Oliveira won.
But, tell us who's the losers of 2020.
Losers of 2020.
Would you want me to go first?
Yeah.
My first pick is Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson went into the year the number one contender. He had a bout scheduled, Khabib Nurmagomedov. It was going to be a massive payday and everything. He went in, he lost Justin Gaethje. He almost retained number one contender status after Khabib retired. So, all he had to do was win one fight and he was going to be in there for a title shot. And he lost every round in 2020 between the Oliveira fight and the Justin Gaethje fight. So I think it was a very, very bad year for Tony Ferguson. And who knows if we'll ever actually get to see him in a UFC octagon again.
Yeah. I think they might keep him on.
Yeah, well, they potentially could, but it was definitely a bad year for him. And the other loser of 2020 for me is Leon Edwards.
Oh, man.
He didn't get to fight for the whole year. He was supposed to headline in London. It was a number one contender fight against Tyron Woodley. And judging on the way Tyron Woodley fought his last few fights, he would have won that.
Yeah.
He would have been number one contender. He would have fought Kamaru Usman on Fight Island. He then would have got, if he'd won that as well, he probably would have got to fight Jorge Masvidal for the belt on a massive pay-per-view. And he missed out on probably 2, if not 3, very large paydays.
That Leon Edwards one is an absolute shout. I'll go with a bit of a curveball. And just because they're slightly involved in the scene, 2 biggest losers of 2020, Chris D'Elia and Brian Callen.
Oh wow, Jesus! That is a bit of a curveball, and I suppose when someone gets their living taken away from them, especially over an accusation as well, which I like. Look, I think Chris D'Elia is almost dead to rights, if you know what I mean. Brian Callen looks like he has some form of defense. He's sort of come out publicly and said he didn't do it. Chris D'Elia is, gone to hiding by the looks of things. So like he looks guilty as sin, but that's only me from the outside looking in.
Yeah,
like who knows?
We can only speculate, but they haven't been on Joe Rogan's podcast. They haven't been on Brendan Schaub's podcast. Brendan Schaub's has moved on totally. He has two other comedians there. He's doing his tours. Like, I don't really know what way that show is going. I know this is going to sound strange. Like, we were meant to have Brendan on the show, and then all these accusations came out, so he didn't come on because obviously we were only going to talk about that. I wish we had him on a few weeks in advance, so then we didn't have to get into that. But True. It's sort of the way things were evolving, and the more and more you sort of stay within your community and you sort of understand what the people want, what people want to listen to. The way we were looking at the numbers, like people weren't watching the football ones as much as the MMA ones, even though a lot of people really like the football ones. They're like, where's the football shows gone? It was just like, look, like we sort of have to like put all of our energy into sort of one sort of scene. You know what I mean? So we're not like talking about how good Solskjaer is doing or bad, or they're entitled race or not. But I think this has made our show better. But I think Brendan Schaub is almost not in the loop now. And
you feel like there's that level of transparency that you probably have with Joe Rogan, you have with Brendan Schaub. Like no discussion was off the table, and once they take a discussion off the table, you question how real they are. If that makes sense. Now I understand sort of the Brian Callen thing and the Chris thing, that like maybe you can't make any statements because there's going to be a legal case or whatever. But I feel like Chris D'Elia, they didn't even say they stand by him or they don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They ignore it. I feel like with Brian Callen, Brendan Schaub says he stands by him, but like if you don't think he did it, well then he should probably be on the show, no?
Yeah, he's just gone way more flashier as well, Ross. And
it's almost like he doesn't have like that like annoying uncle being like, he can't wear that, man.
That's the thing. Yeah, he's just got like he's just almost like living like an A-list celeb now, and he's like he was almost like he basically sort of was on to the streets in sort of like a B plus celeb. We were almost like the further he'd go, like remember he was like presented on the ESPYs or something. We were like, yeah, go on, Brandon, you're legend. Like he's gradually getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then now he's almost left everyone behind. And like he's still like for Ross's birthday last year for 29, I bought him 2 tickets for the Brendan Schaub live tour in Dublin, and he still hasn't come, and I haven't gotten the money back. And I'm sort of like, I don't know what the buzz is going to be if or when he comes, but he said he's going to come to Europe first before going to Australia. But like, who knows what that scene will be like? Because I'm not overly keen on his comedy. It's more the way he like talks about fighting. I'm interested in. But like, I mean, who knows? Maybe like who really knows? Who really knows?
Yeah, we'll probably go anyway just for a bit of buzz. Why not?
Yeah, because people that like our stuff will be there as well. It's a bit of a crossover, but who knows? Maybe this is a time to reflect and then.
And Basmo, I'm going to ask you the same question. Give me 3 winners and 2 losers of anyone outside of MMA.
What do you mean, like?
You can be football, it can be rugby, it can be golf, tennis, wherever you want. Give me 3 winners and then 2 losers.
3 winners.
Or if you want, I'll go first.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Winner number 1, Marcus Rashford. What a guy. And the charity work he's done over the year has been absolutely incredible. He fed like literally millions of people. He's raised millions of pounds. He's also like changed the laws in the UK. All while like also being, the face of like Black Lives Matter for Manchester United as well. So like he all at the age of what, 23, 24?
He's 23 now, isn't
he? He put it this way, in his lower 20s anyway. He's the face of football.
23 now. October 31st.
He's an incredible human being, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Then also another big winner is Lewis Hamilton. He won the Grand Prix. And Baz, I know you love a good Grand Prix documentary. You're all about that Formula 1. He's tied Michael Schumacher for most ever Formula 1 championships. So that is very, very impressive. And then my third winner is, I've only seen it in the last week, is Tiger Woods Jr. I think his name is Charlie Woods. Like, I played golf the weekend and I watched him. I think he's only 11. And he looks like he is going to be the next Tiger Woods. He is that good. He was I think he was like 175 yards out and like put the ball like 2 foot from the flag. I was like, and they showed his swing in line with his dad's swing, and it was like the exact same swing.
No,
it's incredible. So that's definitely one to watch out for, I'd say. For losers, I'm gonna say, weirdly enough, even though like they were actually massive winners, the Liverpool football team, for not actually getting to celebrate win the Premier League for the first time in 30 years in front of their fans.
That's cold, man.
but like I feel bad for them. I feel like they lost because they didn't get to lift that trophy in front of all their fans. I know their fans have probably on us been like, we won it for the first time 30 years. It was brilliant. Thanks very much. But that was, for me, if I was a Liverpool fan, I would have been heartbroken over that. They deserved that big parade. And then,
yeah, geez, that would have been unreal.
yeah, they still had a massive sesh outside the stadium and like broke all the COVID guidelines, but the players weren't there for that. And
YOLO, as you'd always say.
And then my second lose, I'm going to say the Irish rugby team. I feel like it was a year that wasn't that good to them. I know it's a bit of a transition period, but I just don't feel like they live up to the standard that we look for them this year. So I'm going to say the Irish rugby team as well.
All right, that's a good one. Okay, I have a couple of winners. First one is obviously Katie Taylor for what she's done this year. Well, like just, I think like she's definitely one of my top 3 favorite like athletes ever. It's crazy what she stands for, everything she shows.
Especially the way she came back and beat Pursuit, that like much clearer this time around.
Yeah, just dedication to the craft. It's something I'd want my kid or.
Definition of a role model in the sport.
Yeah, just a pure role model. I know obviously you said Rashford and Hamilton, but like obviously I can't start picking them again. Second winner this year, I'd have to say, is Conor McGregor. I'd have to give it to him as well for everything he did during the pandemic, paying loads of money, paying off SPG Port Arlington to get that back up and running. Like all the stuff he invested in to fly in equipment for COVID and stuff. The way his name was so tarnished last year for everything he's done this year. He's definitely back up and trying to fix things. And in fairness, what would anyone do if they made 100 million and they came from the streets? I mean, you know,
that sounds like what Darren Till said about him. I don't know if you saw that interview, did you? Darren Till's like, of course he's changed. Like,
is that what
give anyone 100 million?
Was that with James English?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah. Then the third one, biggest winners, I say up the Dubs. You up the Dubs, man.
Yeah, the men and the women.
The men and the women and the minors. 6 in a row.
6 in a row for the men, 4 in a row for the women. Like absolute domination.
Brian Fenton, he's going to probably retire with over 10 Sam Maguires. It'll be ridiculous. I'd love to see his house when that happens. Who's his partner in the midfield? Connolly, was it?
No, I think it's I think they actually mix it up because I think sometimes McCarthy plays in midfield.
Yeah, it's McCarthy.
McCarthy plays halfback.
Yeah, so McCarthy is one. I think they said 8 All-Irelands as well. It's ridiculous. I don't see that stopping.
He must have 8 as well. He's been in goals since I was a baby.
Yeah, but even that final there, the way they scored in 13 seconds, and then they compared it to McGregor with the knockout of Aldo in 13 seconds. Jeez, I love the internet. Biggest losers, Ross, I'd have to go with the Irish football team. They massively let us down, but we haven't had that much talent.
Think about that.
I know you mentioned the rugby. I was gonna pick Jake Stockdale, but I was just like, maybe not. That's too direct. So the Irish football team for letting us down. But
pick them now.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just giving him an honourable mention on how to knuckle down and watch Kate Taylor's documentary over the Christmas time. But the Irish football team massively let us down. Although we're still a few of us are contemplating going over to see Ireland against Portugal.
Just see Ronaldo though.
Just see Ronaldo and Bruno. Yeah, and then one more loser, Ross.
What about Deontay Wilder?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give that to Deontay Wilder for saying like his jacket was too heavy and something wrong with his this, that, and the other. So many more excuses than solutions in my eyes. Also, I want to give a massive shout out to Darren Conway as well this year. He's really kicked on to another level, and next year once he has the possibilities to do stuff, he'll have big opportunities. And also, Joe, the lads from First Thought as well, next year is going to be massive for them as well, doing a tour with Snoop Dogg after everything that happened this year. And like, to be honest, like obviously we don't stand by people who do racist stuff, but if these lads really were racist, do you think Snoop Dogg would have them on tour? And I think the correct answer is no, he wouldn't. So therefore they aren't. That's what I believe.
How much do people, especially in Ireland, love like when someone goes against something, just jumping on that bandwagon, like that is disgraceful. I agree, and then like give their 2 cents on it when they know nothing about it.
Yeah,
it's such an Irish thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Like it's a bit like your man on the dart who was I don't know if people have seen this clip, who like these kids were getting like thrown off the dart, and then this guy was like telling the guards, was like, and that fella, and like you could see inside him, he was. Did you see this clip? Yeah.
Yeah. Man literally got reefed down the dart.
Yeah. And he was like, and then your man was like, go on the guards. He was like, go on lads, you're doing great. He was like, and this one, and that one. He thought he was the Billy Big Balls. He was ratting out all the lads.
Well, like he was probably getting pissed off in the dart and couldn't do anything. Like standing up against like 4 or 5 lads, it could be intimidating enough, you know. But yeah, that sort of wraps up the winners and losers, Ross.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments below who your winners and your losers of 2020 were.
Yeah, but just before we wrap things up, Ross, like it has been a crazy year. Getting the guests on, like I know, like it's totally changed everything we've done. Like even the messages that we've got in touch with the people just saying thanks for coming on the show, the stuff they're writing back is it's mad humbling. You're sort of like, this is crazy. This is exactly what I thought it would be. Like in some sort of realm, I didn't know it would be like Zoom and how this is the feeling, but I knew we were going to go up a ladder, and like this is what happens. You know, you have to make your own tracks. You know, like no one's going to hand you anything because everyone's trying to do their own thing. And
I think what's the phrase? It's like make hay while the sun shines or something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like we've taken the best out of bad situation.
Yeah,
we've ran with it, and you know, I don't know how many people over lockdown said to me like, "Geez, man, you got so many guests on all the time." I was like, people were at the start of lockdown were looking for something to do, and you know, we were providing that bit of entertainment from.
You can only look back and think, if this hadn't happened, where would we be now? Sitting on your couch.
Know, yeah. You know what's mad though? I actually think looking back, doing like the 40 in a row, I almost wish we did like one every second day.
Yeah, but the thing is, like we thought the
40 in a row was the thing at the time.
No. Like also, I thought we'd get out of lockdown very quick, so I was like, we should have got the 40 in a row. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas like I didn't know this was going to be a sustained period.
It was like Lent for podcasters.
It was. But yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, it's. At least like when we look back at COVID, we'll be like, right, well, this is what we did. This is how driven we were. Like I think everyone knows how consistent we've been. Like sometimes I've been mad depressed, and then like I had to do a show, and I had to be like, go on buzzing, and then like obviously even today I wasn't on top form over the weekend, and then it's just like you have to do it because it's not just for you. I believe this is going to help me and my family in the future and stuff, and it's just this you have to go through these times for the good times to happen. Like even getting Stephen Wonderboy Thompson on the show as well, like doing the live show, that was like the beginning of all, just before all this COVID stuff for us as well. So like I know we had the 40 people we've had more guests than that, but just like it's kicked off really when we had Wonderboy Thompson sitting there doing a live show with him, and now we had MVP and Will Fleury and Kiefer Crosby on. But that was really like, right, we've made it now. Not like made it, but like, right, we're in the door, you know.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great start to the year, and it's going to be a tough year for us to top next year, to be honest.
Yeah, but like now, like I sort of had a bit like, is it Stockholm syndrome? No, what's the one? Imposter syndrome. I had a bit of that like before. I remember the first time for the Bellator. I remember I had to go and do the interviews for myself. I was like, I'm not meant to be here. But like now, we've had somebody guests on now that it's like I don't feel like we're sort of blagging it. Like remember we had Gary Vee on the show, we had no mics or anything, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. Looking back now, Ross, how ridiculous was that interview? Because like he must have looked at us and been like, these lads are just pure spoofers.
Yeah, but if we actually knew that you needed a microphone, we would have actually got microphones. You know what I mean? We didn't actually know, but if we did know, we would have got them. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we weren't so much blagging it. We actually were just unaware.
Yeah, just naive and just two
naive
lads.
Is a better word.
Yeah, two lads.
We were actually trying our best.
Yeah, we were just trying our fucking best. I'd love to see what people said about us then, just being like, those two are fucking idiots. Like, remember we were talking about moving away, and what else did we talk? What videos did we make again?
We're like moving away. There's one on
immigration.
Yeah.
Remember we did one on depression.
Yeah.
It was just like we didn't know what we were doing, man. You know.
Yeah. Oh man, it was silly carry on really, but
we loved it. If you know, we were like so passionate about it. After doing the what was it, the radio presenting course, we were like, right, we're doing this, and we know we're not going to get a hand, so we're just fucking doing it ourselves, you know?
Yeah, but we knew what we were trying to do. We just didn't know exactly how to implement it. I mean, and you know, when you've never created content before, and then you're trying to create content, it's not as straightforward as you actually think.
Yeah, this is before we even had Instagram as well, if you think about it, which is so crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, like
and OnlyFans, before OnlyFans as well.
Oh, stop.
Swipe up. What a joke. But crazy year. Crazy year.
Shout out to Joe Delaney for being our first ever guest.
Yeah, shout out to Joe Delaney. It's just gonna be like next year. Like we sort of know what's going on. You know, I mean, we're just like, right. It's great. It's great feeling to actually sort of know where you want to go.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah, and then like there's more events, more competitions, more guests. Yeah, and then like because the power of Zoom, we can just get them on, and it's exciting. It's exciting. I can't wait for next year. And then like obviously Conor McGregor's fighting in January. Like obviously we were talking about Floyd Mayweather taking on Logan Paul. That's on in February. Like that's going to be interesting. I mean,
definitely.
Then like hopefully Fury Joshua is going to be in March, and then like there's loads of fights coming up next year, and like we'll obviously go into that further and other shows and what we're looking forward to. But man, it's been a crazy year. Crazy year.
Man, it's been absolutely insane.
It is.
Like looking back at some of like I actually had the YouTube page open here, and like just like there's almost people you forget we had, like Greg O'Shea on.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, Reece McClanagan could be one, like there we go. We actually interviewed that and he won a gold medal in the Olympics. You know what I mean? Things like that are absolutely insane. Greg O'Shea could win one for the sevens as well. You know what I mean? Ian Ballaghay, you know what I mean? I think he was like someone you always forever wanted on. And we got on the show, you know, like these people are crazy to have on. But
that's the thing, it's the graft. I'm proud of the graft. I'm proud of the graft we put in. I mean, like it is probably a bit more difficult for you because like you have Theo running around giving you single legs and stuff, but like it's just I think this is all gonna come good, like, you know, and I think it is coming good. Like this was the dream in general, just to do a show together and have people engage and enjoy it and watch it and follow it and look forward to the next week and having the guests on and become really good mates. Like I feel like with like Ian Gary, we're really good mates. With Dylan Moore, we're really good mates. Some of these lads were like really good mates. Obviously we met Ian, we haven't met Dylan, but like just all that stuff next year. And then I don't know, it's just going to be really, really exciting. And like even the way Stevie and Aaron's agent got on to us to have the lads on.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen next year? It's going to be it's exciting times, man. It's exciting times, and it only just keeps getting better and more. We get more confidence.
2021 is going to be a big year for the lads, and I'm looking forward to it. So I think that sort of wraps it up, Baz. Unless that does, Dad.
Happy Christmas to everyone. Make sure to enter the competition as well.
Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and as always,
stay energized.
Stay energized, baby.